Hi there, Serial Trader here. Let's check in with the major US indices. And alright, so since yesterday's video, uh, we did in fact have a nice top yesterday on that hanging man candlestick. And now I'm pretty confident to label that waveform place. And now today, rolling over quite nicely, big decline. Also rejecting right off that daily T line as I was pointing out yesterday. And so now we're heading down. The bearish positions I put on are doing well. Futures, the SPY puts, short futures, long VIX calls. Okay, so now what I've done is a reverse fib of this wave 4 bounce. And 1.32 reverse fib target brings us to 26.6985 on the downside here for wave 5. And the more exuberant 2.0 relationship, 26.0408. So roughly 2670 or 2600 if we get really intense there. And that'll be for wave 5 of 1 or A. At this point we don't know the context of this overall 5-wave decline, but the most important thing is that we have a very very good indication that it is heading down here to make a new low below the low of last week, which was at 27.10.51. Okay, so as far as the trade is going, so far so good. Now let me just scale back here a bit. If we go to the futures, we'll go to the hourly chart there. Okay, so now I initially had my stop up here on the futures at the 28.25 level. At this point, now that there's actually some profits to protect, I've put it on this most recent, you can call it a little recent pullback high on the futures, which is at 28.08. So I have it just above that. I believe 28.0825 is my current stop. So that will lock in a certain amount of open profit. Obviously, I want to leave the stop loose enough that this thing can just absolutely tank if it's going to, because that's kind of the forecast here, right? And then you just see on the 5-minute chart, so overnight here, we're drifting a little higher, but this looks very choppy and corrective. Not concerning at all as far as reversal and going much higher. This just looks very much like a oversold bounce here short term. Anything above these levels is just another lower high, even on this 5-minute price chart. So still fairly bearish here, looking for continuation to the downside. So yeah, so far so good. Forecast is working well, trade's working well. Let's go to the thinkorswim candlestick chart. So on SPX daily candle, and let me just point out, so we closed down over 40 S&P points. That's quite a large move for the day. At one point during the day, it was even more than that. We had a little bounce near the end of the day, but still. And just again here, hanging man candlestick yesterday. Nice confirmation today by selling off. Also breaking the low of, let's see here, Tuesday. So that's further confirmation. Just kind of sitting around this 200-day moving average once again. That seems to be a point of contention, but I imagine that'll break away likely, as early as tomorrow. Now let's see here. 3 T line still well below the T line. We're well below the 3 T line now, so everything's still pointing lower. Now let's see here. I already did the reverse fib on the other chart for SPX, but we'll get to Dow Jones Industrial Average. So the Dow has a little 1, 2, 3. It did its 4, roughly a 50% retracement of wave 3 in the 4th wave there. Basically rejecting off the daily T line just like SPX did, and now confidently selling off and breaking the lows of the previous 3 days actually. So pretty good sell off on the Dow. Closed up a little bit, not quite back down to that 200-day moving average, but I imagine we'll get there. I did the reverse fib target for this bounce, this 4th wave bounce, as I'll consider at this point. and that would give us an initial downside target if we get it to 24,549. And if we get a little more exuberant, 23,982. So we'll see how that shakes out. But Dow's looking good for more downside, just like the other indices. Okay, let's go to the NASDAQ composite. And NASDAQ composite, selling off nicely, already closing well below the 200-day moving average, taking out the low of Tuesday there. And NASDAQ just went between its 382 and 50% retracement level, as I pointed out yesterday, for this wave 3 down. Now, downside targets for the NASDAQ composite. This reverse fib 1.32 multiple gets us in at 71.2258. And then the more exuberant one, the 2.0, gets us to 68.7757. And let me just check that. So that would be getting pretty deep into the February range there. The February lows. It'd be certainly knocking on the door. So we'll see if we can make it. Certainly looks set up for it. And so far so good as far as rolling over after yesterday. So yeah, as long as we stay below the T-line and keep trending down, you can definitely ride this down. Be ready to take profit once it finds bottom though. VIX, let's have a look here at VIX. VIX is starting to trend back up. So yesterday we had our higher low established in VIX, and that was at 1706. And now today we already went as high as 2157, and we closed at 2006, so still close over 20. And I imagine if the sell-off really gets going, we might challenge the most recent VIX high here, which was at 2884. And that'll certainly be nice for my VIX calls if that happens. And also, if things really get ugly, man, if we go challenge, the February VIX peak there, that'll just be fantastic for those VIX calls. But we'll see. Anyway, VIX is still in an uptrend. Equities are still in the downtrend. The bearish trades are working. So let's see what tomorrow brings, and we'll check in again over the weekend probably. All right, that should be good for now. Serial Trader, signing off.